Well, robots, AI, what the hell are they? Are they Terminators bent on the enslavement or extinction of human beings? Or are they just humans made out of metals and plastics? Maybe rocks if they're fancy. Uh, how do how how do or how will they relate with human beings? So we're going to try and talk about here today, right now, in this video. Uh, First, I think have to lay down what we mean when we're talking about artificial intelligence, artificial beings. Uh, to do that, we have to actually have a definition of the word artificial that we can use for our purposes. It would probably be best to use the definition that Robert Sokolowski lays out. And his definition covers the meaning of the word artificial in two senses. Uh, the first is something is artificial when it appears to be mimicking a real thing, but upon closer inspection, it's clearly artificial. Uh, for this, he gives the example of those silk flowers that you can buy that look pretty, put them in a vase, they'll never wilt. From far away, they look like real flowers, but when you get closer and you have them under scrutiny, it is clear that they're not real flowers. They're fake. They're artificial. Uh, then his second meaning is something artificial that is actually really imitating its natural form. The example he gives is, one of the examples he uses for this meaning is light. Uh, Natural light from the sun comes in, lights up rooms. You're able to see because of it. Artificial light from like a lamp, a flashlight, all of that, that also does what natural light does. It lights things up, allows you to see because of it. So, what's the common ground both of these meanings have? Something is artificial because it's fabricated. It's made. It can be built. So, the meaning we want is the meaning we want to use in reference to artificial intelligence, artificial beings, is the second meaning. So, something that is fabricated or built that is a quote unquote perfect replica of its natural counterpart. So, for an artificial intelligence, an artificial being, it's something that's been built, something that is possibly inorganic, even though I'll have an example of an artificial intelligence, artificial being that was organic in fiction later on in the video. Something that's built, fabricated, but in the case of artificial intelligence, an artificial being, something that's actually conscious, something that thinks, feels, acts for itself. So, I guess this is the part where I start talking about examples of where... No, this is the part where I talk about how we try to relate to these artificial things. For this, we look at Sartre's two attitudes towards others. In the first attitude, we are the existence is with the first attitude, the being in itself is wanting to give things to the other. It's wanting to show love towards the other. The ultimate expression of this is giving up the being for itself, giving up its freedom to the other. And this isn't a we don't see this attitude very much in popular culture when it comes to AI. Not to say that it doesn't happen at all. And the second attitude is the attitude of wanting to take from the other, wanting to come to ultimately possess the other, to demand of the other to ultimately give up its freedom for the being in itself. Now I go and start relating these things to popular culture. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I mentioned Terminators. So In the Terminator film series, you have Skynet, which is wanting to it's expressing the second attitude. Its goal is to have human beings subjugated or dead. It wants to take everything from humans because it thinks it knows what's best. An example of an artificial intelligence exhibiting the first form of the first thing. What is the first attitude? That's what it is. An example of the first attitude within recent popular culture is in the film Chappie. The main character Chappie, the robot, he's willing to give everything to the people he thinks care about him and the people he cares about. This leads to him becoming a criminal, stealing cars for the character of Ninja, because Ninja convinces him that he's not doing anything wrong. So Chappie's trying to show love for this character by doing things, giving of himself. The example of an organic artificial intelligence being that I talked about earlier, and I would argue is one of the earliest examples of artificial intelligence, is the monster from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It falls into our definition of artificial. It's fabricated or built. Frankenstein gets body parts out of graveyards that are fresher, and starts constructing his creation. When the creation comes to life, it exhibits hallmarks of consciousness. It's able to learn, feel, express itself, think for itself, and effectively is a conscious being that is artificial. And it confronts Frankenstein exhibiting the second attitude of wanting things from Frankenstein. He wants Frankenstein to create another monster for him. Wants to have a wife. He wants to take from Frankenstein so that he can have something to act on the first attitude towards. So